On conversation number 32, we dive into the conversation of parenthood and whether or not money allows parents to be better parents or whether or not having money affects your child's character and integrity. Does money allow you to have better character or do it matter whether you're rich or poor? Tap in. You are now tuned in to We Invest Different podcast, where we have high-level conversations. I'm Mr. John Michael Best.
And I'm Victor Thomas II.
Let's tap in. Welcome to another conversation of We Invest Different podcast. I'm co-host Mr. John Michael Best.
And I'm your other co-host, Victor Thomas II.
And man, we are very blessed today to join one another once again for another high-level conversation. It's good to be back. How you feeling, Vic?
I'm feeling pretty good, man. How about you?
I'm well, man. Like you just called me a few minutes ago, man, and I heard, the vibrant energy in your voice, and it made me get more energetic. So I appreciate your energy, man, today. So tapping in, man, I feel well. And I know we talked earlier about, some type of conversation that we wanted to dive into that's not the traditional way that we do our conversations, but it's going to all lead around, to finding value in the conversation. So tapping in, I want you to go ahead and get the conversation started, King. I know that you said that you want to bring value out of a topic and out of a situation that you had seen a few weeks ago, and you brought it to my attention. So let's tap in.
Yeah, man. I know probably about last week I started catching wind of the whole T.I. and his son King situation with King getting locked up in jail. And it seemed that because of that, T.I. caught a whole lot of backlash behind that. And he responded. But I just wanted to dive into somewhat of how T.I. responded. And basically his response to it was, King got the whoopings, he got the punishment, he got all that stuff that a parent would typically do to a child. And it made me think what was missing. You know what I mean? Because a lot of times we believe that, when a parent or anyone is more well off financially, that typically a lot of other things become better. But this is one of those cases where it doesn't seem to happen that way. And I just wanted to have a conversation about, does having more money make you more equipped in investing into your children? And I want to start off and ask you, what's your take on that? Cause do you think that, with having more money, that you'll be able to do more with your son and, anything of that nature?
I think yes. I really do think yes, because a lot of the stuff that we were deprived of, well, not deprived of, but a lot of stuff that we weren't able to do growing up, it was because of our finances.
Uh-huh.
So it's like automatically, just by eliminating that problem, you get access and exposure to do and to see different things. So in a way, yes, you definitely can do more with your children, with your family. I can do more with my child, by being financially free. So to answer that in a simple way, yes, I do.
Like what type of stuff though? Like what's the type of stuff come to mind that, I guess I would just say being rich. What type of stuff would you be able to expose your child to with being rich, or any opportunities you can give them?
Well, I'm gonna just be honest. Like, man, I want to do a lot with my son, right?
Word.
So one of the things that I really want to do is get fighting training.
Okay.
And I know that can get a little pricey, getting, the best trainers. I want to learn martial arts. I want to learn different fighting arts. And I want to also put my son in those things. And I want him to be well-rounded when it comes to, like being an athlete as well. No, and I know that, sports is just entertainment, but I play sports because it's healthy, it's exercise, it keeps you active, and it's fun. So I do want him to play sports. I do want him to be an athlete and be athletic. And I want to explore some things in that area because I wasn't able to do that as much as I wanted to. I grew up playing football, and I literally gave it up, because of my mother's finances and my parents' finances. And, I wasn't old enough to take on responsibility myself. I didn't feel I wanted to, but I was doing the best I could, you know what I'm saying? Just being
Yeah.
in school.
Right.
So yeah, bro, definitely. I got different things that I want to do with my son, and I didn't travel as much as I wanted to growing up. So travel is one of the biggest things as well. Not just going places, but also really getting to know the history of places as well. Like that costs money as well. Information costs. So
Mm-hmm.
like I want to dig deep into like the history of Americans and the Indians and finding more about my lineage and stuff like that. Stuff like that costs money.
Right.
So access to information, that's one thing I would use, money as a tool for. And that's what I'm also using money as a tool for now. And we are doing that together. So I feel like what you're gonna teach your kids, whether you have money or not, it all boils down to your belief system as a parent.
Mm-hmm.
So it really, at the end of the day, it really don't matter whether you're a rich parent or a poor parent. It really just boils down to your belief system. Because
Right.
if the belief system is valuable, it don't really matter your economic state because you can make it regardless. And as you've seen, us as a culture, as black culture, as a black community, I really don't like using that word black. But as
Hmm.
melanated people,
Right.
the culture of melanated people has been we making it out of something. We making nothing out of something. So our capabilities has always been making it without the money. So
Right.
surely you can make it with the money. So I feel like money only amplifies who you already are and who you want to be in the future.
Makes sense. So basically, it's just like you would just take the money and then just throw it on top of what you already have in place, principle wise, with your child. That's what I'm picking up.
Yeah, but that's me personally, bro. But speaking on like, I want to take the conversation a little bit further because it's really interesting. Because it's like just because you raise your child a certain way, that don't mean it's gonna turn out the way you thought it would. Like you can raise your child in the church, you can raise your child, with values and stuff like that, and sometimes that child still don't come out the way that you intended.
And what you think caused that though?
God,
Okay, God just got a set plan for them. That makes sense though. Because I
God
know
got
a
a
lot of
set plan.
times, like a lot of times we look at them, I guess we call downfalls as downfalls, but maybe they not even really downfalls. You know what I mean? Maybe that's the way God intended it to happen.
Let's get a little bit more transparent than that, bro. I don't want to just say, I don't want to just say God.
What's up?
Let's just be real. You know what I'm saying? Like you got peer pressure, you got folks that you hang around, you got all of these different factors that goes into who you are as a person, bro. Like your parents aren't around you 24/7. So,
True.
and also like I don't know why we think just because of who our parents are that we're going to be exactly like them. For some odd reason, majority of the time that's what we think. Like, oh yeah, we're going to be just like his daddy or he's going to be just like his mama, but it's like that doesn't necessarily play out like that. Like we just got through saying it. Like it don't necessarily play out like that. Not only does God got to say so in that, but the child himself or herself got a say so in that as well. Because it might be a time where they deciding what they don't want to be like you. They are deciding that they don't want to be like their parents. And I know, like for me, I didn't care for being like my parents.
Yeah.
So that you got to take that in consideration as well. So like when King got locked up, like he was saying, he even made a video about it himself, and he was like, I mean, the police pulled me over. It didn't matter whether I was rich. It didn't matter whether I was poor. It didn't matter whether I was a gangster or a good kid. Shit happens.
Right. Right. Right.
So it's like, it,
But
it,
see,
that,
the thing with King though, like it seemed like it's more than just oh, I'm just a person and I got pulled over. It almost seems like he does things to get himself in them type of situations.
you pulled it right out of me, dog. That's really where I was getting to as well. Cause it's like
Yeah.
that's really the main conversation. The
Right.
main conversation is like being rich and really trying to fit in with the poor. but it's not really trying to fit in because you can't financially fit in with the poor because you're rich. So
Uh-huh.
you have to try to fit in other ways. And
You
what other way is that? Your behavior.
Oh, so you think that what King was doing was like poor people behavior? I ain't trying to put words in your mouth. I'm just trying to gain an understanding of where you're coming from.
It's his mindset, bro. Okay, he want to prove himself because I feel the same way. Okay, like my mindset is like, I come from a certain place. You did what I'm saying. I'm not saying I come from the most poorest place, and I'm
Right.
not saying I come from the most richest place.
Word.
But there's a certain environment that I came from and that I seen growing up. So like I struggle with that with my child. Like I want him to see some of those same things, but it's like, um, why am I so in love with that type of environment?
Yeah.
Like
Why? Why is that?
I don't really know. Like I'm in love with it, and it's part of my home. Like I feel like I'm home in that type of environment, and I have to break the chains on that psychologically because I make my child think that he's supposed to be around the gutter to make him feel black or to make him feel more melanated or make him feel more part of the culture. When
Yeah. And
really,
I was just go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
but really, like I really feel like we should really redefine what culture is, because it's like we
Right.
talk about black excellence and we talk about all of these things. So what is black culture? You know what I'm saying? Like, is it excellent? Because if we talk about the black culture of excellence, then it should be about elevation. It shouldn't be about taking your children backwards to show them, look, you need to, get some experience in these parts, or you need to hang around these type of people so you'll learn what they go through. And I feel like certain extent you supposed to, like, being who you are. If you I feel like if you be authentic, if you be authentically yourself, you will automatically teach your children value of not having and having.
What you mean by that?
Okay, like if you are a parent that, if you are about showing your child better, right? If you're a parent that shows your child better and want your child to see better, I feel like you should have a certain level of authenticity and showing transparency without making them feel like they have to be exactly like you. You see what I'm
Mm.
saying? Like
That
I can
sounds
be,
like it could be a little difficult right there, man.
it
Because I
is
mean,
difficult.
what else does a person? What else does a parent have to pull from? I mean, they could be authentic, but they could still send a message that may not be that good in them being authentic. You know what I'm
I mean, bro, it ain't no really no rubric or no.
saying? Yeah, if I say the rubric, I ain't heard that word in so long.
I'm just saying, like, it ain't no perfect role of how to be a parent. So I'm just saying that if you be authentic, don't force. What I'm saying is, like, you can be authentically you and show your children where you come from. Like I can show my child where I come from, but I don't have to make how I grew up the only way he has to grow up.
That's true. That's
So
true.
it's like it's value in him knowing where I come from and where we come from as a family, but I don't feel like I should make him feel like he has to go that same route for me to be proud of him or for him to be excellent. I feel like true excellence is letting him grow in his authenticity and in his gift. And I feel like King, shit, I don't feel like I don't know what type of parenting Ti has done. I don't know what has been done, but it's like, what's his goals?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like that should be the conversation, not about the things that he's getting into. Like he getting into the things because obviously he isn't occupying his time with the best of things.
Right.
So
Like
it's
I forgot what I heard. Somebody was like, somebody I was listening to something, and they were basically speaking along the lines of, when a child has a priority, or something that they trying to accomplish, it's a lot of things they're gonna say no to because it's like I need to get this done. I see this in my future. So I ain't finna act like that. I ain't finna go over here around with these people. And
mm,
maybe that's what King missing. Maybe I mean he rapping, but that ties back into what you said about culture. Cause I mean, majority of the rap culture, man, it ain't nothing but a bunch of I guess bad stuff. You know what I mean?
So I mean that is. I mean that's what I'm saying. What were they expecting T.I. to do? Like,
Mhm.
and then it's like, he raised them the way he knew to raise them.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I mean, for other parents and for other people to say, he should be doing this and he should be doing that, it's just like, everybody got different parenting styles. And like you said, he responded by saying, "Hey, I gave him whippings, I gave him that, I gave him order. So now it's up to him to learn on his own because life's gonna teach him." But I mean, I feel like a lot more can be done than that. Like,
I was talking to my uncle today, my daddy brother, JT, and he was interested in the podcast. By the way, he was asking a bunch of questions about it. I'm thinking maybe we can get him on as a guest one day. But
that's
he asked, "What did Ti say in response?" And I told him. And then he asked me a good question. He said, well, "Did he say anything about love and walking him into manhood?"
whoo.
Whew, right?
See, that goes back to what we were just talking about, bro. Like goals. Like, what are some real? But see, that like we still got to go back to how the parents were raised. We can't just say, "Oh, he should do this," but if it's not in him, if it's not in the parent to do these things, then they won't be done. So it all goes back to the belief system of the parent, like we said earlier. If it has to be in there, it has to be in them to train the child to be something other than what the society want them to be, or peer pressure want them to be, or whatever the factor is.
Right.
So
Right.
that's how I feel, brother. Cause like we were saying, um, I feel like he is trying to prove himself, bro. Like, cause I do the same thing. I've been there.
Mm-hmm.
You're not okay. Well, I'm from the South Side, so, and the South Side has its own way of doing things,
Right.
and it's totally from how the West Side move. It's totally different from how the East Side move, or any side. So
Right.
my thing is like, I want to do things the way we do it. And I want to hold on to that.
Yeah, that's natural. That's natural. And I think that just gradually changes, as we grow and experience different things and have new goals, you know what I mean? I think it's a process because, growing up, man, that's all it was. You know what I mean? We represent our hood. We from where we from. You could tell where I'm from. You know what I mean? That's what it was
Exactly.
all about.
Yeah.
And it takes some time to break that. But with King, man, it just seemed like his circumstance is a whole lot different from that because maybe he didn't necessarily grow up in that environment, but somehow he ended up glorifying it. And honestly, it's no mystery how he ended up glorifying it because a lot of people do. Why you think a lot of these concerts, man, you see them packed down with white people. It's like that lifestyle. It's just something about it that seems to be intriguing. The rapper lifestyle, you know what I mean?
Yes.
It's something intriguing. The hood, all that stuff. It's something about it that just pulled folks' attention. And it seemed like King just had an easy way into somewhat getting involved in it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's the culture, bro. It's the
Yeah.
culture. The family culture got a lot to do with it. And like when you come from a lifestyle of where it's not expected of you, you feel like you got to prove a point. And that's what I'm saying. Like, because people feel like because you got money, you shouldn't be hood,
Yeah.
or because you got money, you softer. So it's
Right.
like it is a chip on. It creates a chip on your shoulder. It's kind of like being light skinned, and he light skinned on top of that.
Yeah, he's short too.
So it's like it's so many levels. On so many levels, there are things that we can dissect. You know what I'm saying? That's going on within. We can only go off by what we think. You know what I'm saying, and go by only our opinion of things. So I'm
Mhm.
just saying that my opinion is that he got some self issues going on. You know what I'm saying? Like, cause like I said, you don't want to seem like you not as hood as somebody else if they your peer.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? He might got friends that really be in the trenches.
Right. Right.
So
Yeah,
it's
that
like
money can get you anywhere you want to be, man.
that's what I'm saying. So it's like if my friends are in the trenches and my daddy is an OG, what am I supposed to do?
Right.
So it's
Right.
like he want to make a name for himself too. So it's like I don't want to just be known for this little rich kid. Like what I'm saying, like I don't want to be known for this little kid that go to church. Like I'm talking about me. Like that's what I'm saying. I can relate to that because it's
Yeah.
like I don't want to be known as the little church boy that only just go to church.
Right.
Like I
Right.
also want to make it known that I got these hands.
I got you. I got you.
You know what
That
I'm
makes
saying?
sense though.
Because it does create a chip on your shoulder, bro. You got something to prove. Like, and then on top of that, the boy goes to public school, bro. Well, I don't know if he is private, but I'm not sure, bro. But I know they went to public school before. I
Yeah.
I know they haven't always been in private schools. If they are in private school right now, I know they haven't always been there. Because I remember him saying that on one of his interviews, like some of his children go to public school.
I ain't
So
know that.
so it's like, I mean, not all of his children grew up the same way. So
Right.
so it's different, bro. It's just like, you always got that pressure of, my parent is this. So who am I supposed to be? So that's a whole nother type of pressure. We ain't nobody talking about that. The pressure the young man got growing up being T.I. and Tiny son.
But see,
So
the thing about that though, let me ask you this though. T.I. got other sons, right?
yeah,
I'm asking you on your opinion and what you think. Why do you think that those two aren't the same way that King is?
they were raised differently, bro. They don't have the same mothers.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Mm-hmm.
either King, the money, and Messiah, they don't have the same mother, bro.
Right.
So the only people that got the same mother is King, the baby boy, and the baby girl.
Yeah.
So I mean, I understand, bro. He grew up different. He grew up being rich. He grew up literally in the house with his mama and daddy being rich and famous. The other kids didn't 100% grow up like that.
Right.
So
Right.
it's different. It's different. It's a different dynamic. Like they humbled in a way versus him. He trying to find himself because it's like, shit, I understand, bro. He trying to find himself. He young. Uh, he trying to find his identity, bro.
Right. So looking at that situation for what it is with King trying to find his identity and stuff, like if you was in T.I. shoes and maybe you started to catch wind of what was going on with all these videos of him fighting and all this kind of stuff, what do you think you would have done in that situation? You noticing your son is trying to prove himself and trying to find himself and getting into this and getting into that. What do you think would have been your first course of action?
Man, just talk to him honestly. But I mean, I don't really know. But the
Mm-hmm.
first thing that I would do is have a conversation with him. Like, first off, talk to me. I really want to know where your head is.
Right.
I really need to communicate with him. That's my first response because I won't be able to really go nowhere from if I don't understand where he coming from. I really can't know how to direct him. I don't know where he thinking. I don't know what's fueling this stuff or anything. But then what if he can't even communicate to me why he's doing what he's doing? That's a whole nother ball game. So it's like it's still no right answer for that, bro. Like it
Yeah.
ain't no right way to handle these situations, but the best way you feel the best way to handle it.
Right.
We can have opinions. That's all we can have, but all I feel like is, man, is like money don't create character. Money don't create integrity. Money don't create your belief system. Like you are in charge of that. Money doesn't have that power. So it's like it doesn't matter. Everything depends on your belief system, Vic. That's
Right.
my take on it, bro. Everything depends on your belief system as a parent and for that child, because that child's belief system is developing too. Just because your belief system is one way, don't necessarily mean your child belief system is going to end up the same way.
Hmm. And I think that's one thing that many parents, I can't say because I'm not a parent, but coming from my situation with divorced parents and stuff, and my wildness in my time, um, I think that's what my parents somewhat expected in a sense. You know, they expected for me to be a certain way, and once I wasn't, it was like, oh shit, what are we gonna do with this? You know what I mean? But I can honestly say that a lot of it was influence. You know what I mean? What was going on outside the house,
Like
and
what?
just the people I would be around, the music I would listen to, because I was in music as well. So you just running around with certain crowds, fitting in basically. And then it kind of it kind of starts spilling over into my true character back then. You know what I mean?
Yes, bro.
Carrying it everywhere I went. It turned more into from this how I am, with my friends to, well, this is me. And honestly, I'm still dealing with the effects of that and trying to shake it loose. Because
Right.
some of the ways that I am honestly are toxic. And it really wasn't nothing that my parents could really do about it. Looking back on it, I mean, just like when I asked you that question, you were like, honestly, you don't know. And I don't know either. I can't sit here and honestly say, um, I know what my mama should have said. I know what my daddy should have said. But what I can say is, I think it's important for the parents to have a conversation and asking the child, what do you want to do?
Right.
I think that's something that a lot of parents get confused, especially with our generation, because it was like, it's almost like you going to college. That's it. You going to college. Like,
No, for real.
no consideration of, what do you feel your purpose is? What do you do with ease? That there wasn't any of those conversations. Now granted, my parents probably saw what I could do, but there was no like conversation like, okay, what you want to do, how you want to get to it. It was none of that. So I think that would be important.
For, like, on my earlier years in life, when I had dealt with this problem, like I found out, like I feel like parents should also think about um they need to also tell the children that it's okay to feel like uh you are enticed by another lifestyle. Like
Word.
being a child and growing up, you were learning and you were observing life. So like I felt bad about the desires that I was having growing up. Like that, and there was nobody there to tell me, like, those desires that you're having is normal, right?
Right.
Or
Right.
or or like or like, you're not gonna know exactly what you want to do right with your life right now, right? Like I didn't
Right.
have nobody to tell me that. It was just always being jammed. You gotta do this, you gotta do that, you gotta do this, and you gotta do that. And it was always, you know, controlled, but in a way to make me feel like I was doing wrong.
Mm.
Versus
Mm.
versus helping me to understand that I'm learning more about life. Like, and as I learn more, I get to actually apply different things in my life and learn what I do like and what I don't like, instead of you just giving me a list of things to do and not do.
Real talk.
So it's like,
Real
and I
talk.
think that's what's really going on. Like we're being given a list of things to do and not do, but we're not being reinforced to let us know that whatever we're feeling is a part of you being who you are.
Right. And it sounds like that'll make it a less turbulent journey, man. It's like it's almost like just being told it's okay. It's
Yes.
okay. And man, whew, that just hit my heart, man.
Cause bro, I'm telling you, I struggled with wanting to be in the gang all through school because one of my partners was in the gang. And
Yeah.
like I loved and valued brotherhood.
Right.
But see, that was the golden part of that. Like that desire to be in the gang didn't stem from violence. It was because I loved brotherhood. But if
Right.
somebody would have seen that in me, they could have said, you know what, bro? I see something in you. you love brotherhood, but I'm gonna show you that, gangs isn't the best way to do that.
Right.
I was never taught about gangs being bad. The only thing I knew about gangs that was bad is what, like, the drugs and the violence.
Right.
But I didn't see a immediate thing to make me be like, oh man, that's just a horrible thing, until I got older. But I more so got attached to it, because of brotherhood, and, some family members of mine was in gangs and stuff like that. So I was very enticed. And then also, we deal with our hormones growing up as young men.
Right.
So, like, that's the thing that parents want to talk to you about. They want to talk to you all about the things that's gonna bring them stress. Like, you'll warn me on how not to have no baby or how not to get pregnant, but you won't prepare me on how to have my money together, have my goals together, you know what I'm saying? Like, don't just only talk about those things that's gonna bring you stress.
Right. That's real talk, man. That's real talk. And I think it just need to be more of those conversations more often in the household. And I mean, I really want to push for that, man. Right now I'm feeling inspired to really push towards, you know, more men having conversations like that with their sons specifically, but also for women with their daughters.
Yes.
Cause it's important, man. Cause we get out here and be we shouldn't be turning 18 and then learning shit then.
No.
You know what I mean? And that's pretty much what's going on in the black community, bro. But speaking on having those conversations uh with the son and the daughters, um I had a thought that maybe T.I. not being there so often may have attributed to that. I don't know. You know what I mean? I don't know their situations. I'm just on the outside looking in. I'm casting no judgment or nothing. This is all just speaking, trying to learn. But do you think that it's important? And I'm gonna ask you specifically, do you think that it's important for you to be in your child's life to the degree of being around him every day?
100%, brother. I
Okay.
feel like I really do feel like God created the family to be together.
Mm-hmm.
Or else why would he take Eve out of the rib of Adam?
Mm.
Like, family is supposed to be tight and close knitted. So I believe that the society of this world and the knowledge of man has created a system that divided family. And I feel like if we get back to togetherness and unity in the homes, then yes, family will be different. Yes, children will be different. I really do believe that, because we're not raising our children anymore. When I say us, I mean like the majority of our people. Most of the time we're at work and the kids are at school being taught by someone else.
Right.
Why aren't the parents teachers? Why aren't we educators? Because we don't have time to even enlighten ourselves, because we on the clock.
Mm.
So the sooner we get back to the original time, to the original frequency. The Financial Fashion brand, man, was created to empower people to be the best version of themselves. And we do that by promoting positivity, self-improvement, and financial literacy. And we also focus on mindset, faith, education, and wealth, because those are the principles and those are the things that you can learn to be successful in life and in business. So with that being said, take a look at our website at fnfstore.com, where you can find our apparel, you can find things about our company, and much more. Back to the show. Of the way life's supposed to be, it'll always be interrupted. It'll always be chaotic and out of order.
That makes sense, man. That makes sense.
But of course, that's my perspective and my opinion on that, bro. So yes, like I really do feel that it's going to benefit my son that I see him every day, because I'm living this. I'm going to be in my son's life. It was my vision to be in my son's life every day before I even had a son,
Right.
before I even had a child. So I can see the thought of having freedom for my family way back when I began like entrepreneurship, way back when I began like when I used to think I was going to be a doctor. Like I always been, planning to have time because I feel like time is way more important.
Real talk. Real talk. So I like that you said that. It sounded like you said invest in time, man, into your child. And
Yes.
I was gonna ask you, outside of money, and not outside of money, but you know, the things that you can do with the money to invest into your child, like fighting classes and stuff like that, traveling. Outside of that, what other ways do you plan to invest into your son?
Well, brother, it's so much. Like I haven't even thought about everything
Yeah.
because I know like lately I've been really living in the moment,
Word.
but I do have goals. I do have goals. So that's the only thing I've thought so far right now because I do want to create a curriculum. That's the next thing. Like I want to invest money into a curriculum so I can homeschool my child.
Word.
And not only just homeschool my child, but we really need a curriculum for the family to
Word.
teach all children, all melanated children. And it's like not only just teaching them book knowledge, but teaching them knowledge of Christ and knowledge of self.
Right.
Because I feel like knowing Christ is knowing you. Because it's like when you become, when you be saved and you become in the knowledge of knowing that Christ is your savior, right? You then see that you belong to him. That's self-realization. You
Mm.
then realize who you are. You then realize that I'm here with a purpose.
Okay. Well, that right there sounds like an investment right there.
So yes, a
Outside of the
curriculum,
money, you gonna let them know about Christ.
but more on a like a lifestyle thing, bro. Like it's not just about just knowing about Christ. It's really the fullness of it all. Cause you can know Christ and not care to live a nice life. Like I
Right.
know a lot of people. I know a lot of people right now that believe in Christ with their whole heart, but they don't care about wealth. They don't care about building stuff. They don't care about building for their family. They don't care about this life as much as others.
Oh yeah, I dig that. I dig that. And that's why I wanted to specify outside of money. Let me kick it to you like this. If okay, let's imagine that your son is 17 right now, right?
Right.
And he about to turn 18. And you needed to tell him three key pointers about being a man in life. What three pointers would you give him? You
That's
can only
crazy.
give him three.
That's crazy you
Take
asked
your
me that.
time now.
That crazy you asked me that, bro, because I've already thought about that, bro.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I have three, but I definitely know one.
Oh, come on with it.
One is always be honest.
Okay. And what
I
does that mean?
Man, honesty will save you from everything because the scripture says that the truth will set you free.
Word.
So if you go throughout life seeking honesty and being honest, and I feel like better situations will attract themselves in your life and you will have less stress. That's first and foremost. Two, now I ain't even really got that far yet, but I can think about that right now.
Yeah.
But number one was always be honest, man, because lies are dangerous.
Right. Right.
And man, and like you can go real far in lies. And like the thing about lies is that it can always change and be in disguise. It's so deceitful. Lies are so deceitful that the reason why lies are so deceitful is because they change.
Mm-hmm.
But see, truth is so powerful because it stays the same.
Every day, all day.
That's crazy, right? You see the polarity of that.
Mm-hmm.
A lie is powerful because it always changes. But the truth is even more powerful because it never does. Like,
Right.
you don't have to ever guess about the truth. The truth is all. If you know the truth is gonna be it's gonna be what's the word called? Universal.
Right.
The truth is universal. It don't care if I'm talking to a person in China right now. If he know truth and I know truth, we can have a conversation and trust and agree with one another and connect.
Real talk.
And we two different races, we speak two different languages, but because we both agree on truth, we can have a connection. But if I lie to him and if we lie to each other, we both are dangerous to one another because we never know what the true intent is.
Real talk. And then
So
that increase deceit.
facts. So that honesty, bro, that shit'll help your relationships in life. It'll help your relationship with the Lord because He want honesty from you anyway. He
Right.
said, "I decide truth from the inward part." So it's like, man, honesty is the best. When they say honesty is the best policy, whoever made that quote need to be hung on the wall because honesty is definite. It really is. Like, it's cliche, but honesty is truly the best policy, in my opinion. So, like, that's gonna save him from so many. That's gonna help him out in so many things in life. Just being honest.
Real talk. Now, real quick, now I know a lot of times, uh, parents get caught up in, giving a child what they didn't have, and not really instilling those things that they did get into their child. They so focused on giving what they didn't get. But real quick though, something that you learn, something that you learn on your own that you didn't necessarily learn from your parent. What is one of those that you would give to your son on the brink of turning 18?
Start a business.
Okay.
He gonna already have a business before he get 18 though.
So
But
what's another one then? If he already got a business, then like think
this ain't
more
got nothing to
so,
do with it.
think more so in terms of morals, bro, and
Oh, you
principles.
talking about that? You ain't talking about
Yeah.
business. You ain't talking about just.
Yeah,
You
like
talking about just
outside
overall life.
outside of financial, like outside of money, or outside of the riches. You
You
know
just
what I
talking
mean?
about
Like
value.
values, yeah, shit to stand on. Because I really think this is what this Ti and King situation may be. It's some of that in that situation, I believe.
I mean, I felt like when you said one of the key things that the key points I wanted to teach my son, like I feel like that really was a strong one. And I feel like him growing up to get to 18 along his life, we'll be having conversations about that honesty. Like
Oh
each
yeah.
each level in his life, like, bro, because that literally CEO here tapping in. I just wanted to remind all of our supporters and all of our listeners to share our podcast and encourage everybody to subscribe and get these great conversations. Back to the show. Go across the board in anything, just being honest. So while he's growing up and he going through different things, like I want to have a relationship with him to the point where we'll be talking about different things he's going through in his life. And
Right.
then we'll be able to actually apply, that valuable lesson that I was trying to teach him. So like, yeah, 18, depending on what he's getting ready to do, whether he's moving out on his own or anything, like uh also, man, like I gotta instill in him integrity.
Okay.
Like integrity and character. Like you gotta but that's a part of honesty.
How so?
Bro, okay. When somebody tell you something, right? And you expect them to do it, right?
Mm-hmm.
But every time they tell you they're gonna do something, they never do it. That's
Mm-hmm.
not it. That's not being integral.
Word.
So having integrity just ultimately means being solid and standing on what you believe in, regardless of what's happening around you. So you got to stand on your principles. So for him to have integrity, that means he got to stand on that honesty that his daddy taught him about. That's how he gonna keep his integrity. Like
Yeah.
always stay honest, always stay true to yourself, always tell God the truth.
That's right. That's right. And
no
them
matter
solid
what.
ones, man. I can't argue with you on that one. Them are definitely solid, bro.
But I
And
don't
like
know
you
everything. You know what
oh
I'm
no,
saying?
I ain't expecting you to, man. But you know, I like to challenge your brain, cause you know how I get down.
And I love it. I just want to let the people know, like I don't know everything. But
Mm-hmm.
that which I do know right now is that I don't want my son to be a liar.
Word.
You know,
And look, cause I just want to point out, man, I love that you just said that. I love that you can admit that you don't know. And I think we have a hard time doing that, man. And I can imagine parents having a hard time admitting that too.
right.
That they don't know all that, they don't got all the answers, they don't know everything. And I think it's because the pressures of being a parent is like this whole person is looking to me, you know. But I think it should be okay for a parent to not to know, or I guess also to show what they're going through. Somewhat being transparent. I could be wrong about that,
I
but
really don't feel like we can afford to not know, bro. Like
why you say
what I
that?
learned about being a parent so far is that I can't like how can you say you don't know?
Like to your child, like if your child asks you something and you just said, I don't know.
Nah, in a way, okay. Prime example. I know when my son started talking, he gonna start asking for stuff that he wants.
Mm-hmm.
So there comes a different type of pressure. Like I'm understanding now. Like being a parent, I didn't understand this. I didn't understand this before. I used to just think, oh, you can just say no, and they can just go in the corner and just shut up. Like no, your child is literally coming to you wanting something, and you being a parent to them, and like you really like they little superhero in their head.
Right.
Like they understand that everything that they're going to get is going to come through their parents. So that's a whole nother type of pressure. So for a situation to come, or if a need come, and a question get asked to you, and it needs to get done, you can't afford to say I don't know how this is. You can't afford to say that.
Well,
Although it make
okay.
me
Well, maybe you don't say I don't know, but do you think that you'll be able, or do you think a parent should be able to at least be transparent and say, well, I'm not able to do that, and this is why I can't.
yes, it's growth in that. Definitely, there's growth in that because like that's what really what the problem is being a parent creates a pride. It also creates
Mm,
pride. It's a pride and a pressure that goes along with being a parent. So to a certain extent, you do feel less of yourself when you have to admit that you need help for
yeah,
something that you created.
yeah, yeah.
So,
I can see that.
so it's like it ain't nobody's responsibility. This is my child. So for you to have to go to somebody else outside of yourself to say I need this or I need help to do this or I don't know this, that takes you gotta let that pride go and that ego go. So that's a whole process in itself. And not even I ain't even talking about me being a man on top of that.
Right,
I just said parent.
right. That's a whole nother added pressure.
So being a man and a parent, man, come on, man. So yeah, I mean, yes, we should be able to be transparent and say I don't know. But what I say to that, bro, is that you gotta be honest with yourself. If you don't say that shit out loud, be honest with yourself within and handle the situation accordingly.
Right,
Like
right.
you ain't gotta go around saying, "Oh, I can't do this" or "Oh, I can't do that." You can feel how you feel and release that out with somebody you trust and feel like you can talk to. But like to say it to your child or to say it to your woman, like that you can't do something for something y'all created, that takes a lot.
Yeah, yeah.
I ain't even know I felt like that until you asked me that question.
Oh yeah, man. I'm gonna take it though. But see, I also think that you know being able to say that to your child is a value too. And I'm gonna tell you why. Because I believe that yeah, it may hurt, it may sting a little, but I think that child will have a better understanding of compassion.
Man, that's a big point.
And it's from experience, because it was a lot of stuff that was going on with me and my parents. You feel me? And all I could see was the result of it. I never knew that, my parents was going through different stuff until I got older. But
Yeah,
maybe if I knew back then, I would be like, oh, okay, well, I see now. Maybe I won't cut up so much, making it worse on them. Maybe I won't ask for a whole bunch of stuff that I need because I have a better understanding of my parents and what they dealing with, as opposed to them trying to, keep up this whole, I guess, what you call pride thing and not letting the child into that stuff. But I
uh,
think that transparency may help the child understand, kind of like with Christmas. You know what I mean? Like, I think parents should let their child know, hey, I did this stuff for y'all. I worked these extra hours to get this stuff. Ain't no damn Santa Claus did shit. And I think that would make the child more compassionate and more grateful because they know what went into what it takes in raising them.
man, I agree. I agree 98%.
Mm-hmm.
I agree 98%, and this is why that other 2% is still lingering because me being a psychologist, psychologically, I grew up seeing, struggle. So, and some of the struggle I did know about.
Yeah.
Like I wasn't in the dark about certain struggles. I knew my mama only made a certain amount of money. I
Right.
knew that my mama was a single parent. So that weighed on me though, too.
Mm-hmm.
So my thing is like there's a certain level that you should share with your child because your worry will become theirs.
That's very true. That's
So,
very true.
so I would look in the refrigerator and not see no food. I would look at my mama come home and stand in the back. Oh, don't let me get it telling my mama business. Excuse me, Queen.
Yeah, they're right.
But I'm gonna share just a small portion. Like I didn't, I understood, the way that my mother was feeling to a certain extent,
Yeah.
and I seen that. So psychologically, that's literally why I'm an entrepreneur today.
But see, look at that though. Look at that. You see the
Damn.
good that came out of
Woo!
it.
Yeah, you got me on that one,
You
boy.
dig what I'm saying? That's why it's important. Because that's a part of our molding, bro. And
But
that's us get.
I could have still, look, it could have still been in my destiny to be an entrepreneur, though, Vic. Like,
I
cause
mean,
I
you can
had
say that
already
about a lot of stuff, but I'm just saying, you sat there and said out your mouth that that's why you an entrepreneur now.
seen, yeah, that's definitely one of the reasons why. But
Right.
what I'm saying is, Vic, is that a certain level of my wanting to be an entrepreneur, it came from. I don't think it came from anything. I think I was just born with it. Like I
I
think,
mean, I get that. I get that. And I believe we all do have a destiny, before birth. God molded us and knitted us in our mother's womb. So we all have a destiny, but I do believe that there are certain circumstances and situations that mold us and prepare us for that destiny. And
yeah, you're right.
all I'm getting at is maybe us having that understanding of our parents could possibly be a big help in molding us to that destiny.
Bro, that's a good
Possibly.
conversation. That's a great
Possibly.
conversation.
Yeah, man, possibly. That's
Boy,
all I'm
you
saying.
you really just took it there. You really just took it there because now it makes perfect sense. Because like, yeah, you're right, bro. I can't even fight that.
Yeah.
But like every situation is different. Like I was saying, like my point was, is like yeah, like a rose can grow out of concrete. We know that it's a possibility that no matter what you do to a child, it still has the possibility of growing up great. We know that.
All right.
But don't you think that he still can grow up and be greater and that he can be even greater if he don't have that psychological stress?
I mean, I think it go either way. It could go either way. I mean, we not God, and I think we sliding into that,
Yeah,
but it can go either way.
it can, bro. It
But I'm
can.
just pointing out the benefit on this way. You know, I'm gonna give you an example, cuz like um my dad, bro, tough as nails, man. Cause his dad was tough. I was sitting in the car with my dad, and we were just talking like we always do. And then I don't know how we got on the topic, but he was talking about how when he was in college and how he would visit back to his hometown. And he said one time he visited this dude in the hometown that was like one of his dad's friends. And his dad friend said, "Man, your daddy be talking about you so much, man. He be talking about how proud of you he is." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And my granddad and my dad's dad, who was proud of him, never told him that. And as my daddy is telling me this stuff, he starts to cry, bro.
Wow.
And what I'm telling you that is because when my daddy let me in on that part of his life where he struggled with, it made me so much more compassionate for him. It made me to be the type of person to tell people when they do something, I'm proud of you. And that came from my dad being transparent about his struggles with me.
Yeah. You're right, man.
You did what
Thank
I'm
you.
saying?
I think I really feel like this conversation was shit. It needed to be had, bro, because I learned something from this conversation, man. It was so valuable to me because it got me to thinking.
Yes, sir.
Got me to thinking because shit, I'm a father in real life.
That's right.
So I mean, and I am the best father, for him.
Amen.
Speaking life into that. So shit. Yeah, you right, my boy. I really do agree with that, man. I agree with your perspective on transparency, and I feel like I'm gonna implement that, because I do want my son to know me. You know what I'm saying? I want him to know me. I want him to know, like, for some things I do want him to know why I do them.
Yeah.
So I agree. I agree it is value in helping your child to understand why something isn't happening or why something is happening if it's in your control. Now some things you can't explain why certain things happen or
Right.
why certain things couldn't happen.
Right. Right.
But in reason and in your control, you know, we can have a conversation with our children, and like you were saying, that should create a better relationship between y'all two if they know what's going on. So I really see that, man. I thank you for that. So I already see now I'm gonna have a better relationship with my son because King Vic gave me some advice on being transparent because I wasn't gonna do that. Like I was gonna be transparent, but I wasn't gonna be transparent to the extent that you talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Like if I can't come through with something, I won't just say, or I won't just like come up with an excuse or try to like sugarcoat what's going on for him to feel better. Like now I need to really sit him down and help him to really sympathize and learn how to sympathize and empathize with people.
Real
Cause
talk.
like if I don't teach him how to sympathize and empathize, he gonna be spoiled as hell. He gonna be a brat. He not gonna understand that sometimes you're not gonna get something, or sometimes this isn't the way it's gonna go, and I don't need to have a tantrum because something isn't happening.
Right.
I need to help him understand how to understand things.
Real talk. And that'll help him understand when, his life get to turning that way. I believe,
Exactly.
you know, daddy went through this before. So now I know how to handle it. I understand. You know what I mean?
Well, I thank you for this, man.
This ain't nothing but God, man. God just coming through, bro.
It really is. And then like we started off talking about T.I. and King, and like the conversation wasn't about T.I. and King. I don't want people to take that from the conversation. Like it wasn't just about that. The principle was, do we think that money changed change the values that a child will learn growing up? Like, does that affect the way he behave out of life? Does it affect what he decides to do in his life? And it does. It does affect uh, going forward. But
Mm-hmm.
like I can't really say that it's literally gonna change the person. Like I really think you are you who you are. Like regardless of whether you're rich or poor, you are who you are. At the end of the day, it's about your belief system. So like that's what we can take out of this conversation. It's literally about your belief system. No matter whether you're rich, no matter whether you're poor, black, white, red,
Right.
Moroccan.
And that's the thing. And that's why I wanted to start this conversation with T.I. and King. Cause like you said, man, it ain't necessarily about the money, and that's a clear example of it not being.
Right.
It's about them principles, like you said, man. That's what's most important. And that's kind of what I wanted us to get to. And by
Right.
the grace of God, man, we landed on transparency.
Right, bro.
Like that's a principle. Not just a principle that a parent may need to give to their child, but that's a principle that a parent just needs to have to some degree. You know, it's some stuff you gotta have discernment and leave your child out of it. You feel me?
Yeah.
But I think there should be some level of openness and transparency, man. And that's a principle, man, that a parent can display to their child. Not necessarily just you need to be transparent. No, I'm gonna be transparent. I'm gonna show you what it's like to be transparent and honest, like
Right.
you said.
Right, bro.
Real talk, man.
And too, like we said, we also want to, like, cause me being a parent, like I have to understand, I'm learning from this, bro. Like I'm learning from that situation that Ti and King got from, cause it's like I also had to go through that. So it's like, with the Lord allow me to live and allow my son for us to grow that far, if the Lord's willing, I'm gonna have to go through that.
Word.
So it's like I have to really internalize the fact that my son might not be how I want him to be. Like, and I
Mm-hmm.
can't be upset or mad if he isn't. I have to allow him to be him.
Word.
And it is some situations that he's going to get into that he's going to have to learn from on his own. Just like this situation, this man went to jail. He had to go through that on his own.
Mm-hmm.
Certain things you got to go through in life on your own because it's creating you.
That's right.
And he 18. So this is the time where it is time for him to learn consequences. Because like you've been going throughout life being a kid. So now when you get in trouble, it's gonna follow you now. So now you starting to get a conscience. He gaining that conscience of, okay, like I'm not regular, like I'm not a kid anymore. And on top of that, I got more attention on me. So yeah, like you gonna start thinking now. And I think that's what T.I. know. Like that's what I'm saying. Like this man don't. I'm pretty sure he done sat him down and told him his life stories on how he been in the streets and all this stuff. I'm pretty sure he was transparent. But that
Mm-hmm.
don't mean they not gonna go out there and still get in the shit.
It's real talk. It's real talk.
So it's a certain level, bro. We can't control everything, but we just gotta take responsibility of what we can.
Real talk. And be okay with
Man, we ain't going to none of our segments. So before we get out of here, let's go ahead and go into our segment really quick, you guys. We got caught up talking about some real life. You know what I'm saying? Because this is my real life, man. I'm a parent for real now.
it. Mm-hmm.
Like I used to just spectate,
Mm-hmm.
but now it's my real life. But segueing over into our segment of what you learn, and I literally can just go ahead and say I just learned this from King Vic because I don't feel like anything else I learned is more valuable than what I just learned right now.
Amen.
Because it's like you just put it on the press and showed me, like, man, be transparent with your son. Like, I feel like the Lord through you really checked me. Like, because I earlier on in the conversation, I said I want to teach him to be authentic. Like, I can be authentic. I can show him how to be authentic without making my life, without making him feel like, let me say this right. I can be authentic without making my son feel like he has to live the exact same life I did for me to be proud of him.
Come on now. Come on now.
So that's what I learned, bro. Like, and I know my child isn't of age yet, but I have to grow as a person in my ways and in my consciousness to understand that before that even get here. So when it does get here, I can handle it the right way.
You're right.
So like I'm learning, bro. I'm just piecing things together and I'm learning as I go, like from other parents as well. Learning from this situation. I learned from other situations. And you just taught me this. So that's literally what I learned in real time, bro. What about you?
Good stuff, man. Real good stuff, man. Glad you was able to pick up what I was putting down. Not even what I was putting down. God was putting down. Because I ain't playing none of this, bro. The conversation just went. But that's
Facts.
how God work, man. Amen. But I think one thing I learned, one thing that I learned is to be more specific in my goals. Be more specific.
That's important.
Yeah, man. I wasn't specific enough, and now I am being more specific. So that's pretty much it in a nutshell, cuz.
That's very important, bro. I don't want to leave that like it is. Like that's very important. So kind of like, okay, be more specific with your goal. Give an example. Give a brief example of being more specific with your goal.
All right. I ain't trying to put all my goals out there like that.
No, you can use a fake goal. You can just, I'm just
Okay.
need an example.
Okay. All right. Somebody say, I want to have a house by next year. Okay. Well, do you want your house to have a basement? How many rooms do you want your house? Where do you want your house? You know what I mean? Stuff like that. Like, get into the details, man. Because you'll mess around and get a house, and you'll be like, well, I got a house, but shit, it's an hour away from where I work. You know what I mean? I ain't got enough bedrooms. You know what I'm saying? I wish I had a basement so I could have a man cave. It was like, well, hell, you could have put that in your goals from the jump. Woo. So that's why it's important, I feel, to be specific in the goals, man.
Drop it off, boy. You sounded like Dame Dash right then. Oh God, you sound like Dame Dash because he be getting these niggas together, dog.
Right.
And I be trying to stop using the word nigga, man. But it just be coming out. I be trying to use more like king and queen now. I have been saying that a lot more.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But I'm working on myself. But I heard Dame Dash was talking to these gentlemen, and he was like, man, your dream's supposed to be exactly how you want it to be.
Right.
Like, how you gonna put a limit on your dream? It's a dream. If you put a limit on your dream, then it's not a dream. It's a reality. I'm gonna leave that right there, man. We're gonna leave that shit right there, dog.
Yes, sir.
But going to the next segment of the financial theme of the month. And we closing out September. I believe like our next episode gonna be in a new month.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah, it is.
Yeah, it's gonna be in a new month, you guys. So the last episode of September, the financial theme of this month was investing into things that will help you see things that you never saw. Investing into things that will help you see what you never saw. For instance, that's like you might learn some information that'll take your life to the next level, but you probably wouldn't have gotten that information if you didn't purchase that ticket to get in the room.
That's right.
Or like you may see a person, right? You may see a person and y'all may hit it off at a grocery store. Invest time into getting his contact or her contact. That's an asset. See, we got to get out of the mindset of like assets is only money. Like you have people assets as well. Like I was thinking about this like 2 weeks ago. I'm like, I thank God I got an auntie on my phone that can help me out with my phone bill. That's an asset.
Good talk.
Like we got to start appreciating the assets that we have and feed them though. Like you got to feed your asset. Like I don't need to just take advantage of my auntie because she's working with my phone bill. I need to take care of that asset. I need to feed that asset. So it's the same thing. Like whatever you investing in that's helping you, feed it. Feed that thing. Because that's how you're going to grow. So I thank you guys for tuning in to another conversation of We Invest Different podcast. I'm co-host Mr. John Michael Best.
And I'm your co-host Victor Thomas II.
And I appreciate you for joining us. And the Two Kings is out.
Peace.
Peace. Are you stressed, anxious, or depressed? Well, here's some good news for you. We started a mental health movement called MH10. And we encourage people to pay more attention to their mental health. So do this for us. Take at least 10 minutes per day to take a walk in nature, a jog, run, or just meditation to decrease your stress, because stress is one of the leading causes of chronic physical and mental illnesses in the body. So if you want to join the movement, you can also post on social media, post your 10 minutes by using hashtag MH10 or mental health 10 minutes.